Hello everyone, and welcome to another video essay. With how things have evolved in America and over the world over the last few years, it sometimes weighs on me how we've gotten into the situation we're in as a country and how we might make things better. Part of me was thinking why I should even bother making such a video. It won't make much, if any, difference, but the more I get older, the more I realize I'm not just a body, but a body-environment hybrid. And oftentimes, when I see an environment doing badly, it has knock-on effects and makes me feel bad. It's corrosive. And so because of that, I'll make videos like this one occasionally, if for no other reason than it makes me feel better, to feel as though I'm adding in my own small way to a chorus of others, also pushing towards a better, brighter future. With that all being said, please enjoy the video. Of all the bad things we could presently see going on today, there is one issue that disturbs me beyond all others. The moral issue of our time, in my view, is not the issue of migration, or even the issue of freedom of speech, but the ongoing genocide of the Gazan people by the Israeli Defensive Forces. The attack on the civilian Israeli population by Hamas forces was unprecedented and an act of terror which should be rightly condemned. But the atrocities committed afterward in the name of defense have been and are ongoingly grossly disproportionate, completely indiscriminate, and yes, according to many experts, tantamount to genocidal. To put things into perspective, the October 7th attacks were carried out by Hamas militants, of which Axios and the CIA estimated there to be 40,000 such militants pre-war, amongst the more than 2.2 million civilian, non-combatant Gazan population. These attacks killed over 1,400 Israelis, most of them non-combatant civilians. This attack was again morally reprehensible, but in the grand scheme of things, ultimately a single act of terror carried out by Hamas militants and only Hamas militants, whom constituted less than 3% of the total Gazan pre-war population. Everybody else being teachers or students or doctors or mothers just trying to get by like everyone else before the war. In response to that terror attack by a fraction of the population, the IDF cut off all food, fuel, and water to a 2 million strong, mostly non-combatant civilian population. They began indiscriminately bombing cities and hospitals and residential areas, leaving once crowded but livable areas completely inhospitable as far as the eye could see. It's been estimated 90% of homes in Gaza have been destroyed, and some figures place those killed thus far to number over 200,000 dead out of a pre-war population of only 2.2 million. What Hamas did was monstrous, but there is an old saying that goes something like, when fighting monsters, you should be careful you don't end up becoming a monster yourself. Israel is well on the way to becoming that monster. This is a moral moment, and may in fact be the moral issue of our time. It is hard to speak on the issue of Gaza, as we've seen with individuals like Mahmoud Khalil and others be targeted for deportation or even threatened. But it is nonetheless incumbent upon all of us, especially those with real sway in the international community, to seek a swift end to the tragedy occurring before our eyes. To put things into perspective, one expert has said, if we were to stop the war today and get an endless supply of aid and doctors in, over 1 million children in Gaza would still be permanently affected by everything that has transpired for the rest of their life. Even stopping today, we'd be learning about the effects of PTSD and malnutrition and whatever else for decades to come. There is good in this world. I'm reminded of it every day I take walks down the street or stop at a convenience store, and that good is worth fighting for. In my view, we cannot and must not start the 21st century of our shared human story with the genocide of a disarmed population. To that end, Israel must be boycotted and divested from in order to induce a swift end to the conflict. If that's not enough, Israel should be sanctioned economically by the global community and its economy brought to a halt until the killings and bombings and withholding of food have been stopped. If even that is not enough, the situation is dire enough that the international community may need to intervene militarily if necessary to stop the conflict. The international community may have to convene together, going through the proper channels in a multilateral and internationally recognized way, and decide we're not going to let this happen, and to make an international peacekeeping force and intervene militarily to stop the killing forcibly if necessary. What constitutes a fair and measured response to genocide? We've reached that point. This is a heavy topic, but I didn't make it just for selfless reasons. Like I said before, depending on who you are, being a bystander while some things are going on can make you sick and make you feel like you're carrying a weight. Doing my part to bring more awareness to the gravity of this situation is cathartic to the mind and the soul. I hope the same is true for you too. Many thanks for watching.